Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Good Reasons series with Pastor Kurt.
Today, we're going to go down the rabbit hole and try to answer the question why intelligent design makes more sense than naturalism. Now, for those who are not familiar with naturalism, the idea is that there is nothing beyond nature. There's no supernatural, there's no spiritual realm. It's just nature. Everything's nature. Okay, so in kind of frame this, in small towns like ours, we understand something simple. Things don't build themselves, right? If you walk into a machine shed and see a combine taken apart and rebuilt, you don't assume the wind did it. These didn't randomly form itself. If you see a house framed up on a lot, you don't assume the lumber just stacked itself. You assume a builder. So when we talk about the universe, the real question isn't science versus religion. The question is, does the universe look built or is it accidental? Did it stumble itself into existence, so to speak? So I'm going to argue first and present this as the fact that the universe had a beginning. For a long time, scientists assumed the universe had always existed. But in the last century or so, that changed. They discovered the universe is expanding. Galaxies are moving apart, but space itself is stretching. And after you rewind that expansion backward, everything comes to a starting point. On top of that, scientists discovered what's called cosmic microwave background radiation. It's a long set of words for its leftover heat from an early hot beginning. So you put that together, and modern science says something surprising. The universe had a beginning. Now here's the question. If it began, what caused it? Because whatever begins to exist needs a cause. Think of a set of dominoes. You have to have something hit that first domino for them to start to fall over. So why the explanation that it just happened isn't enough? It's not an adequate explanation. Some say that the universe just happened through natural processes, but natural processes require laws, and laws require a framework, and frameworks don't create themselves. We also know from basic physics that energy runs down over time. Batteries drain, the sun's going to eventually die out. Heat dissipates into cooler areas. Everything wears out, heat spreads out, and order breaks down. If the universe had been running forever, it would already be exhausted. It hasn't. It still exists. We're here. You're talking and listening to me right now. That tells us it hasn't always been here. And if it hasn't always been here, something beyond it must be able to explain it. Okay, so there's a cause outside of the universe itself. The second argument is the fine-tuning argument. And now this is where it gets really interesting. So dial it in for me for a second and pay attention. The universe isn't just existing. It's precisely calibrated for life. Think of a complicated transmission. Like that didn't fall into place on accident. It's precisely tuned. In nature, we have gravity, we have nuclear forces, we have expansion rates. If any of these were slightly stronger or slightly weaker, life wouldn't exist. Not complicated life, not simple life, no life. It's like the universe is balanced on a razor's edge. And in our terms, right, when something is that precisely dialed in, you don't assume it happened by accident. When your engine timing is perfect, you don't say, wow, random spark or random assembly of parts to say this works. So you say something tuned that. An engine is fine-tuned and our universe is geared like an engine. Now, some will argue that there's other explanations. So one of those hypotheses is that there's a multiverse. So some respond by saying maybe there's a countless number of other universes and we just happen to live in the one that won the cosmic lottery. However, there's no evidence for this. There's no evidence for other universes. And even if they existed, the naturalists would still have to explain what created that system in the first place. They haven't solved the problem. They've just punted it back another step. At some point, you need a sufficient cause that is outside of the universe itself. So here's the conclusion. Modern science didn't start out trying to prove design, but the evidence keeps pointing in that direction. The universe had a beginning. It runs on ordered laws. It is precisely calibrated for life. When you see a beginning, when you see order, when you see precision, the most reasonable explanation isn't random chance. It's intelligence. And intelligent design doesn't compete with science. It makes sense of it.
Thank you for watching Good Reasons with Pastor Kurt. Until next time.